Hi, everybody. I want to complain first. I also wish I went in the morning. I'm like so full, it's not funny. I was hungry, I have to be honest. I didn't eat much yesterday and this morning. So, anyway, my story could be a little bit longer, so I'll just get straight on to it. I'm Sthe. The organization I started is called 8 Red Apples. My story begins in 2006. I was walking to a store, a fish store, or what we call them, seafood store in Sth'e. So I'm driving my very good car because at the time life was very good and comfortable for me. So I park in Sth'e. It was starting to get messy around that time already. And as I'm parking, the store is right across. I pass a woman who is selling only 8 red apples. Her situation was just so bad because you could see that she's not a regular there. And you know how everyone has the fruits, they are stacked into plates? She also had plates. But she only stacked 2 per plate. Okay. So I think I look like a kind of person who would support you. I kind of have that look, I've been told as well. So as I jump and I'm running, I look at her, I must have stared a bit too long because her situation just confused me. And by the way, I'm a giver as well. So my mind quickly went on thinking, what am I going to do for her? What will I do for this woman? And I looked at her, we must have stared at each other for a few seconds, and I couldn't figure out what to do for her. So I looked at her, she looks at me, and I decided, okay, I'm just gonna go. I left, I got into the shop, I got my fish, and I even forgot about there while I was in there. And I'm coming out again, and there's this woman, and we have this eye contact again. And she is like buy, like she really thought I was gonna buy. And that is when I then looked at the apples and I thought, okay, let me buy the apples. Then I realized they were old. And then I thought, there's no way I can help you. And then I just thought, okay, I'm just gonna walk away. And I did walk away. But I only did so with my body. Here in my heart, I never walked away. That woman remained with me. I was so guilty that when I drove home, I tried to rationalize the situation and my response to it. So I told myself that, you know what, there's one thing I know about women. We don't give up. We don't get to that situation for mahala. So I trusted that she did enough to avoid getting into that situation. So I thought, if she's a woman, if she's a mother, and she's there today, because here's the truth I only realized later as well. Those apples, she had to eat herself. And that meant she's not coming back there tomorrow. She was done. And I hope she had no kids. So now I thought to myself, okay, I've walked away. What do I learn out of this? From another woman, someone so experienced, someone so good, someone who's fought a good battle. The only lesson I took at the time was, Sithembile, no matter what you do, never allow yourself to get there. It means it's possible for me as it has become possible for her. So remember, I'm in corporate, so I carry this woman as a stop sign. Whenever I have a decision to make, I'm like, by the way, will this get me there or get me there? So I'm always judging based on what I know can happen. Fast forward, in 2017, and there's a need for me to start business, 2014. In 2017, business, you run through a lot of losses. First, through your own employees stealing. Second, through your customers stealing. Processes, again, as it has been spoken of, I really was also guilty of not having the right processes. But I understood that that was me. So in 2017, I thought, you know what, there's good money happening here. And I listened to the advice of people who said, the best way is to be there. Be there yourself. So I did that. 2017, January, I resigned. And I've been a resigner anyway. I'm either doing business or doing corporate. I've been doing that for a very long time. So I thought, okay, I'm doing it again. And when I've established these processes and systems, and I'm keeping the employees, by the way, that's another mistake. I learned, we don't fire the people. You're just going to get the same result. You just build better processes. Build your systems. So I kept my employees that were being told all the time they are stealing and the other. And I started working with them from January of 2018, actually. And, I put in everything. The shop was going down. I sold my car to restart again. I put in my pension fund to restart again. I did everything. Then I stayed with it. Now, those who are in the retail industry know that, we've got winter before everything goes down. Okay? You have to make your sales from February. If you don't know, this is a tip. If you're running a retail store, you have to sell your winter store from February, winter clothing. People buy out of fear. You don't sell in June or May. They already know that, it doesn't feel so cold. I think I can make it. So you have to sell earlier on. But from there on, there's no business. Anything from June, July, August, retail shuts, almost. So anyway, I was in there. I knew there won't be income. I simply invested in the business, in the people, in everything else. And, I kept promising everyone that things are going to get better. And my own life at home was now turning upside down because of the decision I took to leave corporate. So we didn't have that comfort. And the money that I also put into business, But I had good hope. I trusted myself and I trusted in what I was doing. And my daughter, I have a daughter who at the time had to change schools because life had changed. But anyway, to cut a long story short, those who were in business in 2018 would have noticed the recession. There was a recession that only we saw. Okay, and it hurt, but otherwise I was able to keep it standing. We were there, and come August of 2018, which was the summer I expected to start seeing all my life's work. Everything I did, I was going to see it. It was going to show. And I expected it from September, but, for some reason, it started earlier than that. August 15, Bachuba government, they've got money. They came to support. And as Bob, I made the money I said I was going to make. I could now start making 12 to 15,000 rands a day. It was so good. I ran to my daughter, who was now used to a very tough life. I said to her, honey, I'm replacing the car. We're buying a car. I was so excited. Really, I had made it. That feeling like you did it? I did do it. I was excited. That was August 15, and then it went all the way down September 5th. The human settlements, health and settlements building in town burned down. We all remember that building, burned for 3 days. I remember watching that building burn down, and I had no clue how much it was going to affect me. 2-3 weeks after that building burning, government decided none of these buildings are safe for our people. And remember Marshalltown, that's where I'm at. We are all there because of the government employees that are there. Government took out all their people, and I suddenly woke up to a world where there were no customers. I went back, not even back, I was never there before. My sales went down to 0 rands to 150 a day. It was so bad, and I thought to myself, how did this happen? All the money we had saved, all the money we had, I put into rent and trying to, keep it going, because we were hearing stories of No, they're coming back. They are renovating. 3 months, stay put. So you put your money. That time I'm paying about 22,000 rands in rentals. I've got employees. So I'm putting all the money in there. But then, not so long, my shelves were running empty. And one day I looked and I thought, because now, I would take the dresses. They're old. Now remember, these are the clothes people have chosen not to buy. This is the stuff that goes on sale, but I can't even put it on sale because now I have no stock. So I would just keep reshuffling. You put the dress that was at the back before, you bring it forward, and then you put those pens, you put them this way, because you're trying to refresh. But honestly, I don't know if you guys had realized. I realized then that I had become her. I had become the woman that I left in Terfontaine that many years ago. Despite my best efforts, always keeping her in mind with me, I still lost. I lost so badly. I would write about it, I would talk about it, I would tell my customers, I would do everything. I was just so miserable. I spoke until people didn't want to hear me no more. I felt like I needed to explain myself to people. And then went through a lot of stuff during that time. But I remember the one thing that I did was when people were finally enough of hearing my story, I was on the internet. I like the internet. It's got so many answers. I type on the internet, how to stop poverty. Oh, no. How do I avoid being poor? I type that and there's answers, believe you me or not. You'll find an answer. So I must have been with those searches there along those lines. And I come across a guy, a fail coach. And there's, that tab chat. And I thought, let me just fail coach. I start typing to this guy, And I remember I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that after working so hard, I could fall that bad. It wasn't, I didn't understand. I did everything right, So anyway, I typed to the fail coach, hi, this is what has happened to me, I don't even remember how I put it. But I was planning to write a paragraph. But then I thought, it's just a machine, I can say everything. Here's another. So I started writing the whole story now down. And to my surprise, as I press send, and I get a hi back. And I'm like, hi, And he's like, okay, let me just read through. Let me just read through, just wait for me. So he reads through, and after that he says to me, okay, I understand. The government did that, the building bent, and blah, 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 blah. You've put in everything. But what did you do? How did you contribute to this? And I'm like, no, man, this guy, I have to go back, read my story. Like, where did I give him the impression that I did anything? I did everything right. I read my story, I said, no, didn't do anything wrong. I did everything right. I was here. I came. They said I must be here. I was here. That building bent. It's affected me. I have no customers. How can you say? He says, no, until you know what you did, then come back and talk to me. I think on the third day, I went on. Luckily, I'm one of those people who really do. I'm not scared of looking at myself. I do look. Because I'm confident that no one else is looking. If I find the answer, I don't have to tell you. Now I know this is my problem, and I can fix it. So I sat down, I thought, he says I did something wrong. What did I do? I sat down. On that day, I was like, oh my God, I know what I did. I went back to him, and now on email of the thing. By the way, he's still online. He's called Miha something, but it's called Fail Coach. So I type and I say, Miha, I did not diversify. Because had I done that, I wouldn't be relying solely on the customers that come in and out the door. In this day and age of online stores, I should have had an online store. And for me, that was a revelation, and that was the beginning of my growth. And to cut a long story short, if you had come to Main Street along those days, you would have found me on the streets, because what I did, I left the employees inside the store. I took a few of the rails. I go and I asked a friend who's got a restaurant, and I said, can I sell on the streets? So I started selling on the streets. Many people know me for selling clothing on the streets. And now you can see I had become this woman. Not only was my show sparse, the shop, I was also on the streets. And I was selling vintage clothing. And another lady comes who's not used to it. Luckily, I had customers. The customers would still come, and I tried to get them quickly on whichever way we can talk so they can support me. So my customers would come and support me. But I get all these new people. Oh, these clothes of dead people. I can't. How do you do it? This is old. I don't. I love vintage, so I can't convince you. You have to be here because you understand, But that was the story. And then I realized that not only was my biggest blunder not diversifying, but my biggest blunder was not doing something for that woman. Because now, if you come to my store or you came and you just took one dress, just take one, I'll be able, with the money that you leave me, I'll be able to run and get 6 more. You see, that's how I grow. But I couldn't tell this to my customers. I just had to watch and pray that they buy. So what did I not do? What was my biggest blunder? I had the money. I had the car. I was able. All I needed to do was to buy a box of apples for that woman. I could have started. It would have cost me nothing. And therefore I thought, here's the mistake we all make and one I will never make. I am no longer rising alone. Now it's time to rise, and we rise together. And that is why now I decided I'm going on social development. I'm going on economic development. And that's my story. I want to end it there. But guys, I pray a lot, and God asked me to tell you this. He said to me, I must let you know, as many of you have said, that the reason we are not succeeding in the businesses we are starting is because we are lacking the most basic economic pillars of development. We lack self-confidence. We lack pride. What else can I name it? We lack so many things, and respect for ourselves and knowing ourselves. We have been marred so bad that we are not able to grow anything. We don't trust ourselves. We can't do anything without trusting ourselves. So like it has been mentioned, we have to trust ourselves. We have to have pride. Because without pride, we will keep creating businesses that fail. That's the first message. And he says, please clean yourself of that lack of belief in yourself. It's not warranted. It's not necessary. And it's not true. Remove it, and then remove it off your children. Wash your children of that mud. Help them believe that they are capable and able. Let them see us work. God says, clean yourself. Clean yourself of that belief. It's a lie. The second message is again the one of growth. Stop starting businesses that are self-serving, and then expect the community that you've closed out to support your business. God says, go for a business that's going to support whatever business you do. Remember the people, because they are the ones that are supposed to come and grow your business. If they are dead, you are dead. God says, please, let's do that. Okay. I feel like I'm losing point number 3. Can I just go? I had 3 points, not 2. The one and the most important one, and the last one. We are not producing. We need to be in production if we are ever going to change the state of affairs. Yes, let's go to China, let's buy, just to survive for now, but let's understand, the minute we continue not to be active in production, when you think of a business, think production. What am I going to produce from scratch? because that helps me learn and I grow, and it helps me teach my children. Because if I die and I was the one going to China and buying whatever I was buying from China, those are the businesses that die as soon as you die too. We're not giving skill. We talked about agriculture. We talked about all those other things. We need to go back to production as African people. One, because we don't know it. A few of us are in there. But until we are producing, then we'll be ready to change what we face today. And I think those three are the biggest blunders we are all guilty of. But let's ride the wave knowing where we need to go rather and work towards that.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together one more time for Sithembile, Masia. Yeah. Yeah, communication specialist is what you are. You're a storyteller. You've got a way of captivating people and keeping them on the edge of their seat. Thank you so much for sharing your blunders. It takes a lot of courage to share your blunders. It takes a lot of courage in front of so many people and to share where you got it wrong. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. Please, let's put our hands together just for the last time for Sithembile, Masia. Come back, just quickly. Just time, you know, the story. You spoke about firing people and employees stealing from you. Just quickly, just share with us a story of something that happened where theft took place and you fired someone. What happened?
Luckily,
and please, go deep. I know they just stole money. How much? Tell us.
Oh, okay. I calculated the theft around 280,000 a year. 280,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's how much would walk away from the business. And that is what made me make the decision to go in myself, because I thought with that much money, I can absolutely grow. And I mean, if you look at how we were able, just between a month, August 15, and before that building burned down, we were basically going to cover that money and more, you know. But the thing about theft is that, you know, it's luckily, like I said, I trust the internet. So the person who was committing the most theft, I couldn't fire because she was my duplicate. You know, you need that duplicate in business. That person who will allow you to fall asleep or go on holiday. She was that good. You know, so everybody was reporting, even the customers, to say, you're not looking, this lady, she's running another business, you know, on top of yours. She even started a mashonisa business from the shop. So she had more money at some stage than me while being employed by myself. So I couldn't honestly fire her. That's the truth I had to tell myself. I knew that was the truth. So I needed to really come up with systems that would at least limit her activities, which is why I went there myself. But I was also fortunate to read on the internet an experience that I want to share with everybody. So there's a company, I forgot the names, blah, 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 but they deal with mechanics and fixing of cars and trucks and everything else. Now, when you run a business like that, it so happened that in this business, I mean, everybody's a mechanic.
Sure.
You don't have a choice. You have to hire everybody's a mechanic, which means everybody every weekend will steal something, or they are working, but they need the tools. So this business used to suffer a lot from losing a lot of tools because the employees were stealing. Nearly every employee was stealing. So they fired their employees, brought in a new group, but it was the same person all the time. They are all mechanics and they are all working privately, you know. So the business needed to come up with a solution in terms of how do they solve this. You know what they did? They opened a tools library. So the company went and purchased tools and opened a library of tools. So employees could come in and say, I need this spanner for the weekend, I need this and need that. It would be written down on their names and they bring it back. And that is how they kept it. So I challenged myself to say, I need to come up with something similar. So it doesn't help to get rid of people. I mean, if you think then, but you know, it's just always important to look at ourselves. Let's improve our systems first. because people will keep bringing in the same people.
Sure. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Thank you so much. And all the best with your ventures.
Thank you so much.